Capricorn, hello and welcome to your winter 2024 into 2025 shape shift reading. We're looking at the shape you're shifting out of, the shape you're shifting into, and what that shape shift looks and feels like for the winter season. I'm Andy, I'm your reader, and I'm joined today by the Wild Chorus Oracle deck by Abacus Corvus. We're going to use this deck to get into your shape shift. This reading is meant to take you through the entire winter season from the winter solstice to the spring equinox. So I recommend that you watch it when it drops at the winter solstice, again midway through the season, and then again at the end of the season so that you can track the through line of your shift along with your lived experience. Trust me, when you watch this reading again after you've already lived through part of the season, it hits different. Okay. Capricorn, let's see what's going on. What is the shift that's happening for your birthday season? Too many. One more, please. Okay. Must be something pretty specific. Oh, wow. Interesting. Huh, okay. Okay, we're gonna get the guidebook out for this. Let's look at this together. So, we have the fox about to pounce through the snow, and the text just says, shh. So there's this like moment of quiet right before the pounce, right before the strike. And then we have asleep in the body's boat, and we see this like figure wrapped up in a blanket, just sort of coasting through the water in nighttime. And then we have this beautiful like glossy-eyed cow face, just like emerging through the flowers with a little bee on its head, and it says before words. This is all extremely physical in the meaning. So there's this vibe of like the before words card, and we'll read it together here in a moment, but it really talks about before like overthinking, before like cognitive processing, before turning our feelings and experiences into language, which then is the vehicle to get them out of our body, we experience them fully in our body. And because you also have asleep in the body's boat, there's something extremely physical going on here for you this winter season. And of course, asleep in the body's boat just talks about this experience of physical surrender and just letting your body rest and just like letting it be carried through an experience. And the fact that it's like shrouded just indicates this time of kind of like needing to go within, needing to pull all of your energy in and just rest and just coast and just let it ride. And then the fox, it's interesting. I mean, the fox is about to discover something. It's this like absolute anticipation, the moment of stillness where it's about to pounce through the snow, penetrate down through the snow to discover hopefully a meal or something of sustenance underneath. But its shadow is really prominently displayed here. So it sort of like has to see it. Is it gonna pounce on itself? Is that what it's actually tracking? So there's a sense of like tracking something. something may be hidden, or something that has not fully been revealed or is being revealed to you this winter that you hadn't previously faced or hadn't previously seen, that is asking you to sort of surrender physically to an experience that will, on the other side of this shift, get you back into your body in a way that is much more like somatically experienced. And the Before Words card with these beautiful spring flowers does indicate, like, by the time you get to spring, there's this like sensuality present. It's so Taurus in its energy, like sweetness and sensuality and maybe even pleasure. But you kind of have to go through this discovering an undiscovered shadow, surrendering to a physical experience, being like carried through something to get to that pleasurable, sensual experience in your body again. Okay, let's read a little bit here. Let's start with the fox and figure out what this pounce is about, this moment before. The keywords: in motion, focus, and quieting the mind, which actually kind of makes sense for the shape shift you're experiencing, which is getting you into your body. Okay. A hunting fox is caught mid-leap, about to pounce on a patch of snow. We can see the fox's shadow, but there's no sign of the rodent that may be hidden underneath. In the crisp, silent air, the fox attunes to what is just below the surface. So you're tuning into something that is not visible, but it's maybe like sensed. The trees in the distance blur. Only what is close at hand, what is most immediate, is of importance right now. This is a moment of instinct, daring, and focus. We don't yet know what the fox will catch or if they are simply poised to fall through the snow into their shadow. It's a precarious moment where any distraction could startle them or scare away their prey. Working with this card, you're being shown a moment in your life where something is already in motion and shouldn't be second guessed. You are mid-leap. Don't get distracted, even if your shadow is daunting. Stay attuned, complete the leap, commit to the course that you have begun or that is already in motion. You may need to quiet your mind. You may need to stop pulling cards for a while until you're on the other side of this question, or just like stop inputting things into your consciousness. Shh is the text that's on the card. It doesn't spill any of its secrets. There is something still hidden in this path underneath the snow, underneath the shadow, something that could go either way. Be a swift, silent river of focus. Abandon what ifs and what next. Sharpen your hope. It's too late for some questions, but too early for others. So find stillness in motion. Whatever you want to know is not ready to be known. Okay, so we're doing this reading here at the beginning of December. Mars has just stationed retrograde in Leo, and things are incredibly martial. This idea of this being a moment of instinct, daring, and focus feels like Mars significations. And the fact that it's like the fox is using all of it's not necessarily trying to think through a process. It's much more guttural. It's using its instincts. That is Mars. That is this hunt, essentially. Using all of its instincts to take action, to go for something, even though there is so much unknown in Mars retrograde that you really don't know what's underneath of that either way, which is also very Mercury retrograde, where by the time this reading drops, we'll have just come off of Mercury retrograde through Sagittarius. And this season, I believe March, April, So by the end of the season, Mercury will have stationed retrograde and will go retrograde through Aries and Pisces. So there's sort of these like Mercury retrogrades, which are times where things need revision, need rethought. Maybe there's like a discovery of something previously unknown that comes to light, that bookends the beginning and the end of the winter season. But so does the Mars retrograde, because we have Mars stationing retrograde right before the beginning of the winter season, and then it will go direct in Cancer, your opposite sign, by the end of the season. So we have two of these major personal planets that are slowing down, that are kind of like staying in place and asking you, maybe with Mars, the more accurate signification is like forcing you to look at something, to really attend to this thing that has been hidden beneath the surface, maybe for some time, that maybe you've been hunting it, maybe you've been trying to find it, trying to find the solution, or trying to figure out something that's going on, maybe in your physical experience, because then we have this very next, essentially the vehicle, the boat that takes you through this shapeshift of riding on instinct, about to discover something maybe really physically important for you, or important in your material realm, something that has eluded you. And then it's like, once you get underneath the snow, this is sort of that experience of like, okay, you've gone down, you've leapt beneath the surface of whatever's going on in your life, whatever this is talking about. And once you're under there, like imagine the experience of a fox just sort of like leaping into probably like 3 or 4 feet of snow and just being like, whew. It's like a suddenly swallowed, asleep in the body's boat. Let's read it. Like suddenly frozen, or suddenly sort of needing to go dormant. Surrender, recovery, and drift. Yeah. Under a starry sky, slipping through the silent water, your boat drifts through the dark. You have very little agency here. Okay, so these two cards together are talking about something where there is something already in motion and there's not much you can do to stop it, because at this point the fox, like the momentum of the body is all, and the instincts and all of those sort of like primal things at work in your life and in your experience, maybe also in your body, are already in motion. That's Mars. Something is already in motion. So this is a situation where you have very little agency. As the undulations of waves rock the boat, you are being carried along by a process that you cannot control. And like the blanketed figure in this boat, you're in a dream space. Surrendering to sleep is a skill we must learn. Parents and caregivers rock and sing and soothe their little ones to sleep. Our minds and bodies often need convincing that it's okay to let go. So again, we're getting this same theme of like, your mind might have some resistance to this, but this is not about your mind right now. This is about your body. And so part of letting your body surrender to this winter experience is quieting the mind, calming the mind, and realizing that like the mental processes are not the thing that will carry you through this. It's okay to let go. This card asks you to surrender. Something is out of your hands, already in motion, and impossible to see from here. You may need to prioritize rest, dreaming, visioning, and not knowing for a time. You may need to release the desire to navigate out of these dark waters and rather trust that you'll see better once the sun rises. Pulling this card draws a sort of veil over whatever answer you're looking for and asks you to dwell instead in the mystery. It may also suggest that you have little to no control over the outcome of your query. So let yourself be soothed and carried. Feel held by the vessel of your body. Follow the cues of your body. Sleep, dream, release control, be swallowed by the mystery. Okay, didn't we just say it's like being swallowed by the snow? So whatever this thing that you are sort of on the verge as the winter begins, maybe you're on the verge of discovering something, or maybe it starts to come out as Mars goes retrograde in the beginning of December 5th, 6th time. You're on the verge of it. And then once you dive into this mystery, and this reading's so physical, it really could have to do with some mysterious thing going on in your body. It's the only thing you can do is surrender to the experience and let your body kind of carry you through this mystery. It's not a mystery that you need to mentally solve. It's not that. It's much more of a surrendering to a process beyond your control, which is often how it feels to be in a body. Those of you that have had any kind of health stuff, you know what I'm talking about. But this is what you're shifting into, the shape you're shifting into before words. Embody, restore, and inner knowing. So there's this this card, the message is shh, quiet the mind, surrender to some sort of recovery. And then we have embodied, restore. So something, it just feels really, really physical. Your body is getting restored through some sort of surrender experience, some sort of experience that is beyond your control. A solemn, soft-eyed cow pushes its face through the spikes of gladiolus flowers to contemplate you. A bee rests briefly on the cow's forehead in a kind of communion. This card is drenched in rich, redolent mysteries of embodiment. We are in a land of milk and nectar, of honey and humming, and the silent, vibrant shouts of ecstasy that are flowers in full bloom. Okay, so we're talking about spring. We're essentially transitioning so obviously in this card, shifting from winter to spring. And that may be the experience in your body, shifting from a winter experience of dormancy and dryness and cold, and we're talking about really Saturn qualities, and Saturn is not made up of the constitution, the temperament that gives life. Saturn is winter. Saturn takes life away, puts it into dormancy and stillness and death for a brief amount of time, so that it can have that time to regenerate and come back in the spring when things are warm and moist and life producing again. That's your shapeshift. It's so, in some ways, so simple, so Capricorn, and very Saturnian. That's your ruler. Okay, cool. To paraphrase E.M. Forster, next to the eternal why, this card holds the eternal yes. You are invited to stitch yourself back into the fabric of direct experience, before language, before abstraction, before what you sense becomes a mental story, before words invites your mind to be captured by your senses. Ground into what you feel. Let pleasure lure you home. As you expand the sensual realm, somatic realm, as you expand your ability to sense and feel and live in your body, your physical experience, you're expanding your nonverbal vocabulary. This card offers sweetness and a deep affirmative to all plans that rely more on your body than your mind. Before words is a nudge to pause any verbal processing and center your sensual experience. Let the song of life drown out the noise of your mind. You have permission to call in pleasure, slowness, and deep nourishment. Feel your feet on the earth. Express yourself non-verbally. Have a snack. Commune. Okay? So we're getting this very consistent message for you, Capricorn, already. And that is out of the head. The head cannot solve the body's experience. The head, the mind cannot solve the body's experience. And that may be very prescient for you this winter. When the body's experience takes over, maybe takes you to a point where there is nothing you can do, no amount of control to wield over what's happening. All you need to do is rest, let go, surrender to the experience, and let yourself find some sort of rest and peace within it. Especially Capricorn, knowing that by the time the spring comes, there is recovery here. There is restoration. There is you experiencing pleasure and sweetness again in your body, communion, connection with other people, maybe through physical experiences together. There is life and aliveness and vitality and wellness on the other side of your winter dormancy. Okay? So we're going to take this reading further now into an extended reading. I've got two other new decks that are here to help. Isabella Rotman's This Might Hurt Tarot and This Might Help Oracle. And so we are going to ask, we're going to let the This Might Hurt show us what might feel difficult this winter, and then This Might Help show us what might help you through it. And since this is your birthday season, let's go ahead and give you a preview of that on this side of things. So, Capricorn, This Might Hurt. Let's hear from the This Might Hurt. Interesting. Hierophant. Yeah, this is sort of bringing me back to like, we see this like a spiritual authority figure here as a pope or like a priest in a temple, sort of like delivering the message from God. It just sort of feels like, again, there's something higher than you. There's some sort of like higher authority, be it the universe, be it, I don't know, a person, a declaration, a message you are receiving that is beyond, it's not coming from you. It's beyond you. It's beyond your control, and you sort of have to like surrender to it. In the context of this like spiritual leader in a temple, it's like, okay, God has delivered this message and we have to go with it. We have to surrender to that. So it sort of feels like there is this sort of like mysterious discovery that is an underlying thread through these cards, through your winter shift. And so there's something here where like the message comes down, and it is one that you kind of just have to surrender to. And this could also talk about something that's happening like beyond you, in the sense that it's happening in the greater society in which you live, that is creating a surrender experience for you. It's like the directive comes down and this is what has to happen. Interesting. Okay, this might help. Too many. This might help. Capricorn. Oh wow, the bonfire. This is just the fire element in this deck. It says an achieved dream. Fire is the element of the suit of wands, which deals with the inspired energy, passion, desire, spirit, creativity. In the Ace of Wands, we see the initial spark of raw creative energy. A fire like this begins with just a spark, but with time, fuel, and proper nurturing, it grows into a thriving flame. When we think about attaining to our dreams, we often imagine crossing a finish line, but achieved dreams become a reality that must actually be lived in. An achieved dream can be a glorious thing. It can grow huge, roaring with life and providing warmth, but don't forget you'll always need to keep adding logs to the fire. So as long as your dream is alive, it will need to be cared for. Goals are achievable here, but they require maintenance and care. Is this still where you want your energy to go? And it's like, maybe that's sort of the underlying message or question to be asking throughout your maybe physical or like embodiment experience over this winter is like, okay, where has your energy been going? Because there's obviously a time over this winter where your energy needs to completely drain, completely level. And so by the end of the winter, it's sort of like, okay, is this a fire that you want to keep feeding? Or have the energy to keep, do you have the energy to keep this going? This dream alive, this thing you've been putting your energy into. Does this feed your mind, body, spirit? Does this continue to make you feel alive and well? Alive and well. There's something in there. There's something about that. Alive and well. Okay. Wellness reading. Wellness check for Capricorn this winter. All right, we're going to keep pulling cards. So if you want to continue and watch the rest of this reading with me, click the link in the description below to take you to the shifting space where we will investigate this reading together over the course of the winter season. We will share the astrology transits as they happen, chat about them in a Discord chat space where we also pull cards for each other and generally support each other's experience of these shifts as they happen through the season. So I hope to see you for the rest of this, Capricorn. Happy birthday. If you want a birthday reading, you know where to find me. All the links in the description below. Take care. Happy winter. Okay. Capricorn, let's get into this. We're going to keep going with the This Might Hurt Tarot and try to get to the bottom of what this... Interesting. It's now that I see these together, it's like the Hierophant seems to also be saying, shh. The message has come through. There's a message coming in. An authority speaks. A higher authority is speaking. You must listen to this. And that higher authority could very well be your body in the context of this reading for sure. Okay. So let's look at this. Shh, the fox jumping into the snow. The shape you're shifting out of. Yeah, it's very much the Fool energy. Something, again, is just mid-leap. You've already stepped off the edge of it. So there's sort of a no going back sensation happening here. Or like a teetering on the verge of an experience. So at the beginning of the winter, since this is the shape you're shifting out of this season, we're talking like end of December, January vibe. It's like you're on the verge of being tipped into a total surrender experience. And at that point of the season, in the beginning. You are this fool. You don't know what's coming next, nor is there any way for you to know what's coming next. You don't even have any real like concept of what's coming next, but something is propelling you towards this very first step in a much longer journey. Because this is card 0. This is the very beginning. And when we're at the very beginning of something, there's always a little bit of sort of blissful ignorance. Like we just can't possibly know what it will be like to experience that until we do. And so there can be a lot of like ignoring warning signs, or like ignoring, avoiding looking at the difficult possibilities in favor of like just going for it. You know, ignorance is bliss sort of a thing. And this dog is down here like, you're about to step off a cliff. Do you really want me to follow you there? That being said, both of these cards are cards of faith. Because they're major arcana cards. So something, again, much larger than you, sort of out of the realm of your control, of your experience and of your life, like fate or destiny, however you conceive of those, could be part of this feeling. This sensation that this is bigger than you, and this is already in motion. So even if you could stop the leap or stop yourself from stepping off this cliff, it's like it's not actually you doing it. It's just like something that's happening in your life and that has already gotten to a brink point. And so faith will be required to see this through to whatever comes next. Faith is required. Okay, sure. What else? Oh, very nice. You have a lot of support here. 2 of Cups. People, these two are very close. They're embracing each other. They're supporting each other. We do have this caduceus showing, it's a symbol for Mercury, but it's also very much like, it's showing, it reminds me of the caduceus, like the symbol for medicine in the West. You know what I'm talking about? So it's further emphasizing this like physical experience and health kind of thing, but it's showing that you have a lot of support through that. There's a lot of like, I mean, this card is so physical. It's not just 2 people facing each other and like connecting mentally or even spiritually. It's like a very felt physical embrace, an experience of really being held by the people close to you or by the people that are caring for you. It's really an experience of being cared for, feeling supported. It's so sweet. It's lovely. It's almost like you have nothing to worry about, you know? Like, it's like, we got you. I got you. Even if that's like you being like, I got you. You've got yourself. But it does feel like you have external support. Oh, yeah. Corroborated by the next card in the suit, the 3 of Cups, showing friends all getting together and just like celebrating and enjoying each other's company. Okay, so whatever this is, you're so supported. These are really positive cards of connection and togetherness and like freely expressing within relationships. Some of you could be like entering into a relationship or entering into new relationships or new friendships, about to step into this experience of connection in a way that you have not yet experienced, and that will require some form of surrender to the physical experience as well as emotional experience of that kind of closeness, that kind of like, oh wow, I can rely on you. Thank you for being here for me, for supporting me through this. And because the Fool's here, this could be a really new experience for some of y'all. Like, oh wow, I've never really experienced support like this. Okay, so relationships are part of this for some of y'all somehow. Let's look at Asleep in the Body's boat. Oops, hold on. Oh, whoa, our cards got all kind of turned around here. How'd that happen? Okay. Asleep in the Body's boat, and then we have Ten of Swords at the bottom of the deck. Really? Okay. So this certainly would be an experience of surrender. Something just sort of like levels you, like flattens the experience. Like you've run out of energy. You can go no further in this space. And it's kind of helpful that it's the swords actually, because this whole first part of the reading talked about getting out of your head and getting into like a physical experience. So the Ten of Swords would imply that the mind has reached its limit. It can go no further in this. You can't, there's nothing else to think through. You've just reached an end point with this. Asleep in the Body's boat. There's no like escaping it. I just saw the Seven of Swords pop up. There's no like running away from this. You can't avoid it. It has caught up to you, or it will catch up to you. And so then, interestingly, we go from this very like, actually pretty sweet, like above the surface out in the daylight experience with the fox poised above the snow. And then we plunge into below the snow, into the night, into these like darker, into this experience of being in the nighttime, being under cloud cover or in darkness or like under the light of the moon, where things get wild. We're no longer like innocently prancing with our friends, doing things we love and that bring us fun, enjoyment, pleasure together. But now we're like all naked, just like howling under the moon with these like wild wolf masks on, and like creatures from the that are usually, again, under the water are starting to surface and reveal themselves. And there's this sort of like werewolf Halloween transformation where it's not all like fun together with friends. We're having fun. We're drinking coffee. We're doing our things. It's like, no, okay, you didn't really know what you were getting into here. And now it's going really deep. That experience of being swallowed by the snow. Again, you do have support here, but it's like, okay, we're all gonna be swallowed now. We're all going into this like much more, much wilder space. There is less control under the light of the full moon. There is much less ability to we can't see everything. There is, I mean, the full moon is very bright, but there's still so much shadow and so many fears. And like all of that is starting to sort of dominate the landscape as you go into this like dormancy, physical, mental dormancy, and the dreamscape becomes very alive. It's almost like when you go like under anesthesia and like you wake up and you're like, What was that? This winter might sort of feel like you wake up on the other side of it in spring and you're like, what was that? What was that fever dream? What was that like? Wow, that was this is a tone shift. Like, okay, that went hard. That Mars retrograde went hard. You know, that went deep. That cut deep. Mars significations cut. Or like that ended harshly. Or that that really forced us to surrender, to tap into something. Again, here we have these like dogs, the fox, the wolf, something much, the coyote, you know, something much more. Wow, we really had to like tap into our instincts there and get a little feral with it. Get like real wild with it in order to be able to let the conscious mind take a back seat and let the body do what it needs to do. It's sort of like the conscious and physical body, conscious mind and physical body have to rest, and then like the unconscious mind in the moon card just comes alive. The dreams become so vivid, and the sudden like, yeah, it's super feral. So this is sort of reminding me of like the Cancer full moon, January 13th. That'll be opposite your sign. And Mars will be hanging out or soon hanging out there. I don't have that chart in front of me, but it's like, I know Mars is retrograding from the beginning of Leo back into the end degrees of Cancer, and that full moon is at 23 Cancer on January 13th. So that might be like with Mars, and that there might be just this like totally feral, like wild moment. Okay. Is there anything else I should know about that? Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. There's a very clear message coming through for you. Like the message will be undeniable. It will be so clear to you that like you can't keep moving forward in this way because you will probably be like physically unable to do it. These clarifiers came out, Page of Swords, Temperance, and the Ten of Wands. Can we look at the logs that have been carried that need, you know, so we're talking about, here we go with the underlying question here. So a message comes in, Page of Swords. There's those like cloudy skies again. This message comes in, it sort of like maybe takes you by surprise. Notice the expression on this person's face, like, oh, this message came in. Oh, are you serious? That's what's going on? That's what you know? And the message seems to be talking about temperance. Something needs to come into balance. Something has not been in balance. There's been this like, there's been an imbalance maybe in like workload or responsibilities or things that you have been, some sort of burden that you have been upholding, that you have been carrying. Again, like to go with Isabel Rotman's metaphor here in the bonfire, if you want to build a really big bonfire, you have to be able to commit to feeding it. And what happens when the woods run out, when the wood runs out, when you don't actually have enough to keep that fire going, or you have the wood, but you're so tired that you can't go get it, go retrieve it and carry it all this way. And then the fire starts to kind of go out. It starts to get to this point where like, okay, I can't actually keep this up. And what happens then? Then you live through the night without a fire. And things get kind of wild for a time. And that's the thing, for a time. Because the moon, God bless, thank God, changes phases so quickly. So that full moon phase is only lasting a couple of days, a couple of weeks, where things are, there's no fire and everything gets kind of wild. There's no firelight, where you can't sustain. I mean, the Ten of Wands is this card of being at the end of it. Like, okay, I can't actually keep carrying all of this. I have to put it down at some point and end that trajectory of fire, which is essentially, well, which is Mars, which is your energy level, your vitality, your capabilities. So something, again, we have 10 of Swords, now we have 10 of Wands. We're at this end point of something. And it has to do with revealing where there have been imbalances and where there needs to be moderation. And again, that might be news to you. That might come as a little bit of a surprise. Like, oh, that is something that the Page of Swords has just learned. Like, oh, okay, I didn't really realize I was expending my energy so much. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that I had spent it in that way, or that I had spent my physical resources to such a degree. And that sort of makes sense because there's this, there's these really real extremes showing up in the cards. From everything's great and we're just keep going and we're party and experiencing this and we got this, we're going together and we're doing all of this, to like, okay, whoa, we suddenly can't do it anymore. There's this real stark shift from day to night, from like into winter, where it's like, all right, whoa, I didn't even realize maybe how extreme that was, or how hard that was going. And now the moderation comes in and things need to kind of find a better balance, which means calling into question your physical resources. Do I have the physical resources to keep doing this? Do I have the wood? Do I have the like money, the resources, the materials? Do I have the stamina in myself to keep this going? These are great Mars retrograde questions, actually. Can I keep this fire going? Can I sustain this? And during Mars retrograde, it seems like with asleep in the body's boat, the answer is no, at least temporarily. Okay, before words, let's get into that, the shape you're shifting into by the spring, which really just looks like recovery and like rediscovering wellness, an experience of physical wellness. Talk to me about before words for Capricorn. Whoa, what is these dogs, these feral dogs? Just going at it. 5 of Wands, just like there is major fight, major battle going on. It's it's ruddy, you know? It is like, it's rough. It's like, I don't think they're really playing. It's like, this could be play, but it's there's a question of like, okay, is it play or is it like, there's that, it's so feral. But it's also so physical. Oh, that's interesting. I got an image of like somebody boxing. Of course, it's like Mars has just stationed and I've been watching so many like, it's got a UFC vibe for me. So, okay, there could be this like It looks like at least they're in this fenced in area. So it could be like a designated space to express aggression. Okay. To like physically express, to be able to somatically experience aggression in like a protected environment. Okay, that's cool. Because there is something really feral that's coming out in the moon card that needs to be discovered. Also with the fox. And with Mars, it's often some like underlying anger or underlying aggression that's being found in this shadow space, being found in underneath the snow. And that kind of like aggression, anger, those kinds of feelings can really swallow you. Bitterness, resentment. These things need expressed. They need a place for a vehicle for like not just verbal expression. This reading is not about verbally expressing yourself. Mars doesn't care about that. You know what I mean? Like Mars is like, let's take it to the yard. I don't want to talk. I want to tussle. Let's, you know, like let's just work it out. Let's work it out in the yard. Okay, interesting. So there's something that physically needs like worked out. Not talked out. It needs worked out. All right. Never got that with the Five of Wands. That was fun. Thank you, Mars retrograde, for that. Ooh, okay. Into the Queen of Wands. Like, okay, well, major vibe change. Oh, okay. Because if you're able to express yourself more physically, then you're able to like then sit at the desk and draw the thing, create the thing, like then like with much more ease, feel inspired to get into your hobbies or get back to your art or do your work or whatever that is. It's just like there's sudden ease after a chance to express yourself, maybe like aggressively. There needs to be a space for you to express your aggression physically, and then it's like your slate will be clean and you'll feel, oh, okay, I got that out of me. I wasn't just carrying that feral fight within me all day long. If you're carrying them dogs in you, you got that dog in you, Capricorn. And you're carrying that in you all day long. And then you're wondering why you can't like focus. I mean, the Five of Wands is such a lack of focus. It's such a like, okay, everybody's everywhere doing everything. No wonder you can't sit down and have a nice time sketching the flower on your desk when you got that dog in you. So you need a space where you can go get that dog out. And then it's like, I sweated it out. I feel so much better. Now I can sit down and have a peaceful time writing my novel or weaving my thing or, you know, sketching for the love of it, for the fun of it, or connecting with people from this like space of clearness and openness. Now I can experience the magic again. You know what I mean? Okay. What else about before words? Do one more card or two. Two of Wands. Wow. I mean, this person is setting, it's sort of an interesting answer to the Fool card. They're both sort of about to set off on a journey, but now with the Two of Wands, okay, now I can draw a map. I can map it out a little bit better. I can plan things a little bit more so that I don't maybe like run into so much unexpected. I don't know. I mean, there's a willingness to go on an adventure here, to go on a road trip, to go on a journey, and to kind of just like let it be. I don't know. There's a balance between like spontaneous and planned that feels like it's showing up here. Listen, Capricorn, I don't know what this is about any more than you do, but well, I should say you know what this is about more than I do. But it does seem like this winter, something feral is coming out of you. It's like you are getting, you're like diving into the snow and letting yourself go into winter dormancy. And in that winter dormancy, and which is also Mars retrograde, a lot of these like feral dogs are kind of coming out of you, and they need to like have their way. They need to have their say. And they're talking so much about like your energy levels and like asking you questions about like, can you sustain this? Like, what's making you mad? They're asking you about balance, and they're taking you maybe to an imbalanced place so that you can experience that, so that you can realize that, so you get the message, and then you're like, oh, okay, I need to find balance with this because this is too much for me to carry. My body can't actually do that. Got it. But then you realize like some sort of structure emerges for how you can give yourself space to express your aggression, to let the dogs in you come out into the yard more frequently, so that they're not just like living completely unconsciously in a subconscious space, like having their way with your body underneath it all. Letting them express viscerally, physically more frequently sort of like clears your palate in this way that just like brings so much more peace and like freedom and a willingness to kind of, and like space to, okay, now I can like plan for some more adventures, some more enjoyment, some more to do the things that I love more, maybe to travel more, maybe to make art more. Okay, that's really nice. But it's like you needed to get this out. There's something you need to get out before you can get to that more rested space. I want one more card. Okay, we will take the Ace of Wands for sure. You need to get to the end so that you can get back to the beginning, so that you can start fresh. It's almost like getting to the end of your energy reserves, or getting to like the end of, when I think of fire, I think of your energy levels in your body, but I also think of like your inspiration levels, your creative reserves, or sexual reserves even. And it's sort of like something this winter is taking you to the brink of that, to the end of what you can actually physically, energetically, creatively sustain. And then in that space, you are forced to rest. And in that space, while the body is resting, these like feral dogs kind of emerge and take over and do a lot of like unconscious physical expressing that needs to be expressed in that space. And then you're coming out of it reset for spring, re-energized for spring. And ready to make some plans. Ready to, with like the clean slate, to bring your energy back, to attend to the things that you love again, to dream again. But there is this, everything sort of hinges on this dog in you that needs a space to physically express. And maybe that's part of what Mars is trying to get you to understand through this retrograde. And being able to physically express that somehow like helps to reset your energy, but after a time of sleep, rest, dormancy, stillness, the energy then returns. And it's like, okay, whew, we can start over, we can start fresh. We can go back to how it used to feel at the beginning. Wow. It's also maybe like thinking that your energy levels were this, and then by the end of the spring you realize very somatically, physically, experientially in your body that your energy levels are actually just this. It's not the whole stack of logs. It's actually just a twig, like one branch, one beautiful little blooming branch. Okay, you know, look how they're both sort of holding this flower, holding the sunflower, holding the branch, the cherry blossoms. It's like, okay, I thought I could hold all of this, and actually this is what I can hold. So there's a lot here about capacity, understanding your capacity in a very new way through maybe a physical surrender experience. And that is new information for you, Capricorn. And the balance looks a lot, what you imagine to be a balanced life has to shift. Your perception of balance has to shift through that experience, maybe. Okay, let's get a couple final words here. It's in the "this might help" category, but I specifically want to ask, what's going on behind the scenes? You know, like show us the unseen hands at work in this winter season for Capricorn. What are the things helping Capricorn behind the scenes? That's nice. The Magician's Wand. Interesting that we have like the Ace of Wands also showing up as the candle. Okay, the Magician's Wand. I want to do one more because it's unseen hands, right? They're like holding all the cards in this reading, and then I'll show you the deck and we can, or the spread, and we can look at it together. The Bow of Arrows. Interesting that it's not arrows, it's Eros. Oh, and I think you need to see the battered sword on the bottom of the deck, because it's sort of this, again, the mind has sort of, it's like it broke, whatever this is breaking your brain a little bit. You know, like the mind has been beat. It's not about, there is something about like a losing battle here that's really interesting. But let's go to the Bow of Arrows. Okay. Especially with these like 2, 3 of Cups, there is relational energy here. And I don't know what that has to do with your physical experience, although I could surmise. Let's read. I want to start with the Bow of Arrows, actually, which is connected with the Lovers card in the Major Arcana. The bow of Eros represents moments when your feelings change. Infatuation feels like you have been struck. It is the lightning bolt of a new crush, of sexual attraction, of falling in love. Alternatively, there are moments that break your heart, moments that make you realize that a relationship isn't working or that you no longer want to be with the person in the way that you did. The bow of Eros suggests that something here is related to strong change in romantic feelings, or the force that caused a change to happen, either like new romance or a change in romantic feelings. So there's something about relationship here. Okay, we could read this whole reading like this. If the reading feels like it's about relationships for you, it's like, okay, you've met someone or like a new group of people or whatever that is, and it feels like there's so much new relationship energy that it goes super hard. And then you get kind of burnt out and you get a little leveled and you're like, okay, I can't like physically sustain this. I need to find, this is going a little out of control. Like I need to find some sort of balance, because like I physically can't see you this much or like do that this much in this way. My capacities are not actually that, even though I was totally ready to leap into the oblivion with you. Like, wait. Like my body can't handle this. So then it's like you get that message, but then you still need to find a way to kind of negotiate that through like letting yourself really tune into how your body is feeling and what you actually desire and what you actually have the capacity for. And then it's like, okay, then you can kind of like get back to the things that you love and like get back to adventures, but maybe just like with a little bit more planning involved, or like a little bit, there's something that has shifted for you physically. And it's like, and it's interesting because by the end of the season, you are actually shifting it, I wanted to say back into, or like into a pleasure experience, into allowing more like sweetness, more connection, more like pleasure in connection in your physical body. It's just that happens through kind of recognizing that your capacities were not what you thought. Something like that. And if it's not like, oh, new relationship energy, it could totally be talking about some sort of like relational negotiation that's happening. That's like, hey, listen, I've like learned something about my body, and like maybe we can renegotiate our dynamics, or like we can renegotiate like what support looks like for me during this time of being asleep in the body's boat. Because I've learned that things need to come into more balance for me. I've learned that I can't hold all of this and I can't sustain it the way I thought. Can you support me in that? How does our connection and relationship look with that new information? And it might look like a lot more time for yourself, or like time by yourself, or going on like solo journeys and adventures. It's also like what you're shifting into is all wands, 2, 5, and Queen, with this physical experience of pleasure. So it could be that you need to shift into, and the Ace actually, yeah, let's look at that together. Let's look at the whole thing. So everything surrounding the cow is all aces. So it's like you're actually shifting into fire, into vitality, out of what looks like 2 of Cups, 3 of Cups, a lot more of like an emotional connection space. You're shifting now into something very embodied, very like creative, inspired, maybe sexual, maybe like a lot more, yeah, just like you're actually shifting into having more energy. But you have to downshift first and go into dormancy with Asleep in the Body's Boat to actually understand what your capacities truly are, so that you can really pursue balance, so that your energy levels in all of these wands can be expressed in a sustainable way that you can actually keep that candle burning. Let's read the Magician's wand together. So that you can keep making magic, basically. It says how you get there. The Magician raises the wand, a burning candle, to channel the divine energy of the universe downward into a tangible result, similar to the Hierophant, interestingly. The raised wand is the tool with which he channels energy from on high, Hierophant, and through himself to achieve the desired result. The wand symbolizes the tool or path which will allow you to manifest your goals. How exactly will you achieve what you wish? This card will assist you in doing what you need to do. It's a tool, a resource, a friend, a comrade, an experience that you must go through in order to manifest the purpose of your action. It's not the end goal, it's how you get there. So the unseen help that we are seeing in this reading is the bow of arrows and the magic wand, the Magician's wand. So don't worry. There is something you can't see right now that is helping you achieve what you want to achieve. It's just like, first there needs to be like a relationship renegotiation or some sort of renegotiation in terms of your connection with your body and your capacities, because your body is speaking this winter and it is going to tell you something has been up underneath the surface that you've not been attending to, and it will demand attention so that you can come back up on the other side and realize the actual resources you have to get this, to live the life of creativity and aliveness that you really want to live. And like specifically to experience creativity and aliveness and connection with a range of like fire type expressions, aggression, sexual, instinctual, creative, all of that. To experience that as alive and well in your body. Okay. Okay. Wow. Capricorn, what a reading. Super epic. I'm not surprised. It's your birthday season and we're here at the turning of the wheel at the start of a whole new calendar year. And it looks like you are entering spring, which is its own new year, astrological new year, having gone through a major revision process in your body. And you'll be exiting this season with a whole new physical experience, which looks really lovely. And it looks like it's you're able to get back to the things you love and the ways of expressing yourself physically that you want to be expressing. Okay. Capricorn, if you would like a personal reading to look at the wheel of your year, you know where to find me. Find us in the Discord if you need some support at any point in the season or you have some insights to share. Please dish. And happy birthday, happy winter.